What's our seat number? What have you seen?
What have you seen?
What have I seen?
What have I seen? What have we seen?
Yeah, and put some little, bouncy flouncy music on that.
Bouncy flouncy.
Oh, such a good time. Bouncy. Anyway, continue.
Yeah, so I watched House of the Dragon. I watched the first 3 episodes of House of the Dragons. That's what there is. I actually appreciated the fact that there weren't very many sex scenes. I think there was 1.
Mm-hmm.
And I appreciated it because I felt like what Game of Thrones was trying to do, at least in the first and second season, was to snag their audience and keep their audience.
Yeah.
And it worked to a certain extent because the sex scenes sort of you needed to watch the sex scenes in order to get crucial information in Game of Thrones.
Yeah.
There were like there were things going on and characters sort of having dialogue conversations
in the middle,
having conversations
like
during,
you're thinking about Littlefinger talking about his childhood.
Yeah,
right?
there's
While
like
the 2 whores are going at it in the corner.
Yeah, or it's something that like you catch the
sorry, ladies of the night.
Yes. So I appreciated the fact that they were more interested on sort of in getting on with the plot for House of the Dragon, and I think, look, first of all, I think most people are gonna know what's going on because it's a prequel, and a lot of that stuff is referenced and mentioned within Game of Thrones. Yeah. But it's playing out really interestingly, and I think it's going to be good. I think it's going to be on par, if not better. I thought it was a very seamless continuation of the house style of Game of Thrones, and they even got Ramin Djawadi back to do the theme, and the it opens with the theme, a very similar kind of.
Does it also have
sequence.
Like a cog-like thing? Okay.
Yeah. It's and to be honest with you, like it's completely different showrunners aside from George R.R. Martin, who has actually got a creator credit on this one.
Yeah.
And I'm really loving it. I think it's horrific and violent and etc. But they've started like setting up the chess pieces of like the sort of all the politicking and the backstabbing and all that stuff, which to be honest, like you know. We came for the violence and the sex, and we stayed for the politics, basically, because the interplay between the characters and who's going to end up on the Iron Throne and who's going to, betray who is more interesting than a room full of concubines getting the boobs out. To be honest, yeah.
Although I do like a good room. I was going to say that I'm just not interested in it, and I'm not interested in Rings of Power either.
I watched the first 20 minutes of the first episode of Rings of Power. It looks good, but I haven't had time. I haven't had a time.
You haven't had the time.
I haven't had a chance to finish it. I haven't had a chance, or I haven't had the time to finish it. But I mean, people are liking it.
Yeah, I'm not saying that either of these shows are not good. They're getting good reviews, but there's something that's not. I don't know. I'm more enjoying the short 20-minute Harley Quinn episodes that I'm watching. Yeah. And also Rick and Morty's just come back, and we know I love me some Rick and Morty. Like that is some premium. My friend and I get together every couple of weeks, and we've seen each episode of Rick and Morty both apart and together like so many times, but we will watch another one.
We do that. We do that with the IT crowd.
Yeah, exactly. It's like that for me. I can rewatch it over and over and over and over again. I just don't get sick of it.
Yeah, so I would recommend House of the Dragon, to be honest. I really like it, and maybe wait till the season's finished and then binge the lot out of it. I think that Millie Alcock is on par with Emilia Clarke. She's playing a what I perceive to be a fairly similar character, and I think she's a slightly better actress, to be honest.
Okay.
But you've got Paddy Considine, you've got Matt Smith just like chewing it up. He's loving it. He's brilliant. There's quite a bit of dragon action even in the first 3 episodes. A lot of people have been saying that it's kind of talky and like and soap opera, and I don't see that because it's not.
But the original Game of Thrones
exactly
was quite talky.
Exactly. That's the thing that people don't seem to understand, that once they got their sort of hard on sorted out, the creators, calm down. go take a cold shower.
Everybody likes boobies. Move on.
Yes. And then a lot of it was, there were full episodes that nothing happened
It was
but dialogue
just
scenes.
Tywin Lannister talking down to Cersei and Tyrion as Hand of the King, and like telling them what they're going to do with their lives, and then them plotting behind each other's backs, and Jaime and Bronn sort of being a bro love team. And it's just that was it for a while.
So I don't remember a huge amount of the lore, like the Targaryen history and all that stuff. So some of these things are going to be a bit of a surprise to me. But I think that Paddy Considine is going to go the way of Ned Stark.
Probably.
And I think that
Matt Smith will probably get as well.
I don't know. He's really ferocious. Like, he's great. Anyway, I'm basically I recommend that.
Okay.
The other thing I saw it last week. I saw Nope.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
How was it?
No. What?
You're hesitating.
Yeah, I'm hesitating because it's something that I think I need to see again. But here's the thing: Get Out. First of all, it's been said several times by in interviews that Nope is completely separate from Get Out and Us thematically, stylistically, and it really is. You can still sort of discern the Jordan Peele-ness of it, but it's a very different film. With Get Out and Us, you can sort of harness the message very easily. It's not something that's difficult to understand or grasp. And they sort of like they have a very different style to them. Nope is much more straightforward, and the message is something that you need to think about just a little bit.
God forbid.
Yeah, no. It's just something that like there's two
thinking after watching a film.
Yeah, no, but there's two separate things that seem two things that seem separate that take place. There's one thing that takes place in flashbacks, and then the sort of like the main alien plot basically, which at first glance don't quite connect. A lot of people sort of chatting about it online and whatever, and I have to admit that I sort of connected it because I read
stuff online.
Yeah, Nope ending explained. Google that.
Cheater, compulsive hater.
Yeah, and there were a few things that I didn't quite get, and then I understood that some of the sort of design elements are a bit like sort of influenced by anime or whatever, things that I don't really know about. So yeah, I think I need to delve into that one again. I wouldn't say it's a bad film. But it was definitely something that might need a little bit of growing time on me.
What else have you seen?
What else have I seen? I saw Prey.
Oh, was it good?
I quite liked it.
Other people liked it as well.
Yeah, other people liked it as well. I enjoyed it while I was watching it, but but it sort of occurred to me that while everybody's talking about the sort of refreshing nature of the plot and the setting, etc., what it all boils down to is a group of people being hunted or hunting a predator in the jungle.
Okay, but isn't that what you want from it?
It is what you want from it, but I'm saying it's nothing particularly new. Aside from the Comanche stuff, like the setting, which is great, and I think that Dan Trachtenberg is a great director. He directed 10 Cloverfield Lane, and this is his first movie since then. Actually, I think that was in 2018. But I thought it was very, very well made. But at the end of the day, it's not something that you couldn't really look at it and say, wow, this is a Predator film that really sort of breaks the mold and changes up the formula. You got like the first Predator, group of people being hunted in the jungle. Second Predator is very different because it takes place in Los Angeles, but again, the jungle of the city, a bunch of people being hunted by a predator. Predators, which is basically a remake of the first, and The Predator, which I just thought was awful. It's very different, but it's awful. So then Prey comes along, and it's pretty much the same formula, So yeah, while I enjoyed it, I didn't think it was particularly groundbreaking or anything. And there was there's a bunch of other things that I saw. Man vs. Bee. I've been watching that because I needed something to watch while I was eating. It's very silly. It's kind of like watching Mr. Bean, to be honest.
Shocker.
Yeah. But the thing is that the very first scene is they're in court. and he's being sued for all the damage he's done to the house because he's chasing this bee around.
Yeah.
So there's no tension of like, oh my god, is he going to be able to get away with it? Because there are certain scenes in the movie where he breaks something and then he sort of like glues it together and it looks like it did before. So you think like maybe he'll get away with it, but you know he's not going to get away with it. So all that tension goes out the window from the very get-go.
Yeah.
She-Hulk.
Oh yeah.
You been watching that?
I haven't. I'm thinking that maybe that's something I should wait for Shosh for.
You wait for Shosh, and also like maybe wait until the season's played out so that you can binge it, because they're very short episodes.
20 minutes as
well.
well.
It's the same thing as like WandaVision and all the rest of them, basically all the short ones anyway. Like Hawkeye and Loki were longer form, but like you watch an episode once a week and you don't feel like you've been nourished because it just goes by so quickly. So I'm liking it. I think it's very silly, but it's supposed to be. It's very entertaining, and the CGI, while very wonky, is it's all
possible for a TV show.
Possible for a TV show.
Did you see the article that I posted? Someone was complaining about it, and I posted this article about the very real struggle.
Yeah, the CGI is possible for a TV show, yes, but there are moments where it gets particularly janky, and I think that maybe they could have been a little bit more. They could have spent their money a little bit more intelligently. For example, Mark Ruffalo doesn't need to be the Hulk all the time if he's able to control it, and it's established in the pilot that he's able to control it at certain points. So yeah, I think that that they maybe bit off a little bit more than they could chew, because they have a human character, a humanoid character, who's front and center most of the time, and yeah, there are huge issues with sort of manpower and time and budget, etc., that could probably be alleviated slightly if they had her hulking out a little bit less.
There's a really interesting thing that I read about was when you're making a male CG character, putting in blemishes and wrinkles and stubble and all of those things that go towards making it look more realistic are more acceptable, because on men we're willing to sort of accept these blemishes a little more, right?
Yeah.
Mark Ruffalo looking scruffy, right? If he were to look too smooth, we'd say that looks weird. But the minute that you start doing that to a female character, you'd start saying, oh, but she's got all these like wrinkles and blemishes. And so finding that balance is like really, really hard.
Yeah, but it's less about the sort of airbrushingness of it than the sort of the movement, the tracking.
The animations, and the motion. So there's another part to this, is that we also have wonderful references for what the full movie budget Hulk should look like. Right. So not only do they have to match that whenever Mark Ruffalo's Hulk is on the screen, and I've read that they do a pretty good job, right?
They do, yeah.
But that, you then have to translate that quality to a new character, but on a TV budget. So just think about how hard those things are. I know you don't need to, because I'm talking about the listener.
Yeah. But aside from all of that, though, I think that the scripts are great and she's great. So it's just a lot of fun, especially seeing Tim Roth back in that role. He's just brilliant. And what was the other thing? You and I talked about this. I watched Shang-Chi.
Yeah.
And then I thought to myself, because of that quality of the sort of like Chinese history and the locations and all of that stuff, I thought to myself, it would be really nice to watch Crouching Tiger. And I haven't seen it in a long time, and I have it on DVD, and I'd really like to upgrade. So I bought the 4K, and my God, like I hadn't seen it in a very long time. I remember not particularly appreciating it when I was a kid. Mainly because it's it wasn't like big action blockbuster that it was marketed as, and I watched it this time and I was absolutely swept away. I think it's gorgeous. And there's also something that I never thought about before. There's quite a lot to read into the ending and a lot of discussion there. So if you want to do an episode on that, we can do that too. But yeah, so I watched Crouching Tiger, and I really, really loved it. And being steeped in all of that sort of Chinese history, mythology, and culture, etc., is just like I really enjoy it. It's like it's stepping into another world for me. I really like that. And the other thing that I watched and was very disappointed in was Death on the Nile.
Yeah.
I really liked Murder on the Orient Express. It's probably an easier book to adapt. But yeah, Death on the Nile was a bit of disappointing film for me.
Unfortunately so, yes.
Yes. Anyway, what have you seen?
Didn't you also see the Quiet Place movies?
Oh yeah, I watched the Quiet Place movies. Yeah, I have seen the first one before, a long time ago
movie.
when it came out. So I rewatched it in order to watch the second one, and the second one, it's John Krasinski. It's all of the same crew and writers and everything, and it's just seamlessly continues. It just seamlessly continues on from the first one, and it feels like two parts of the same story, which I always appreciate in sequels. And it was, I to my mind, it was just as good as the first one, and I really enjoyed that one too. Yeah,
I love the design of the creatures. I love the fact that they're basically a walking eardrum. It's just brilliant.
Yeah, I think the whole concept of it is really great. Anyway, what did you see?
So I've seen a couple of things. I haven't had a lot of time to watch things. So Shosh and I.
This is like over like 3 months.
Yeah. That's. I'm also going over the same amount of time.
Yeah.
So, Shosh and I we wanted to watch season 3 of The Boys when it finished.
Mm-hmm.
And she said, do you want to start from the beginning?
Ooh.
And I said yes for some stupid reason. And we're stuck on like season 2 and we have no time to watch it together. And we watch like an episode every 2 weeks or something. It's like really, really
fantastic.
Slow. So this whole momentum that we were imagining, we're going to binge the first and second seasons and lead up to the third one, then we'll know exactly what's going on and where we are. It's like we could have just watched a recap, to be honest, but we're in it now, so it's too late to go back.
Yep. I know what you mean.
What else did I watch? I said Harley Quinn. I watched a movie that I remember was on. You know when you have like those flashes of something from your childhood and you try and track it down just from like random moments?
You try and see if what you remember is exactly the way it was.
Yeah, so like, but you don't remember what the movie is, so you have to kind of type into Google, dude fishing with a banana peel on his head or something, like just to try and find out whatever the hell, it is. The most distinct thing that you can remember. I remember catching this film. We were actually here, but we were on holiday. And we were staying in our aunt's flat. Yeah. And I think it was... Do you know what? I don't even know if that's true. I think it was for a wedding or a some kind of family function that we came for. And it was very, very late at night, and this movie was on late. And I just remember the ending of the film. That I remember it was about a reporter, and that she had a mentor who was also a reporter. Right. And that at the end of the movie, spoiler... He goes on like a mission to another country, like to report on something, and he gets killed in some sort of like.
It's up close and personal, isn't it?
It's up close and personal.
Oh, you could have just asked me.
So I was going to, but
we saw it. No, we saw it on the plane.
I remember watching it here. Oh, really? In the thing, yeah.
Because I remember seeing it on the plane on the way from, or the way to, or the way back from here. Yeah. But like I remember being like I was really young, and like impressionable. What am I talking about? What was this? 1995?
I was older than that.
Yeah, so you saw it on a rerun.
So a rerun. What's a rerun?
You'll find out. So I remember like being really cut up about that and that fucking Celine Dion song. Jesus Christ.
So it was a It was just like, for me, like rewatching it and just, I wasn't particularly enamored by the movie, to be honest. It's not a particularly amazing film. It was a bit...
Yeah, but it's the things that were around when you were a kid,
I was just... for me, it was the novelty of, I found it, now I have to watch it, right? Right. I also rewatched some of The West Wing. Okay. Because, I had to watch something that I couldn't actually watch and had to have on in the background and like maybe fall asleep to it or something, and I've seen The West Wing so many times. I just made it to like season 3 and I was like, okay, well, this is where it starts going downhill anyway, so or season 4.
I actually haven't seen The West Wing like all the way through like that. I tell you what though, my wife and I decided to like a couple of months ago we decided to watch Better Call Saul because we had started it when it first aired. and we sort of lost track of it. And we really enjoyed ourselves, and we watched it all the way through to the end. And then we decided to go back and watch Breaking Bad, and I'd forgotten how
good it is.
amazing Breaking Bad is, and it's funnier than I remember as well.
It's a good show.
It's like there's a lot of heavy shit that goes on in that sort of sticks in your mind, but like the comedy is just brilliant. And also I noticed that breaking in Better Call Saul, there's a flashback that they sort of reshot of Saul, aka Jimmy, being held over an open grave, and he says, no, he says the names of two characters. And then when we went back and we watched Breaking Bad, it's like he says the names of those. It's the same scene. He says it's obviously different shooting, whatever, different time they shot it. And it's like he says the names of those two characters, and I'm like, they had all of that shit planned out all the way back then.
Yeah,
it's brilliant. It's so well done. Anyway, I just wanted to sort of go on that before we close this segment, which has run on very, very long. Maybe we should make this a bonus.
Maybe.
Yeah. So and also like I'm very interested in like going back and watching some of the things that passed me by, like The Sopranos. Never watched The Sopranos.
I've never watched The Sopranos either.
Huh.
It's ruined for me because I know how it ends.
Well, everybody knows how it ends, but yeah, it doesn't matter. That's not the point. I know how Breaking Bad ends, and I'm still enjoying it. But yeah, so that's what I've seen. What you've seen. What we've seen.
You know what we should do?
What?
We should end it out by going, that's what we've seen.
Okay.
Ready? 1, 2, 3.
That's what we've seen.
What's our seat number?